All right, everybody, welcome to the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast, brought to you by Phelps Game Calls, professional grade game calls made for every hunter. Now, it's been a while since we've been in studio. Last week, we did miss uploading a podcast because, to be honest with you, Dave and I have just been extremely busy with life and vacation and all this other things. So, sorry about that. But, if anybody lives life and works a lot and needs that family time, sometimes things get pushed to the side. And sorry about last week. Had to just happen to be a podcast that we didn't get to record. So
the hard part about it is we have two different schedules and two different lives, and it's summertime. So
yeah,
my wife works for the school district and your wife works for the bank. So, our vacations are very different. So, it just the things didn't line up, and throughout the year it's more predictable. There's spring break and, that's about it really. Christmas time, Thanksgiving, not very many that are extended months of break time for the kids. So
yeah, but even that during that time for you and I, like, we're usually hanging out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You were out of state on vacation, and my wife and them they went out of state on vacation, and I ended up hanging them back here because we've just been so busy with work. I did 72-hour weeks. 2 weeks.
That's rough, man.
That was rough. And haven't experienced that since 2010. So it's been. I was like, oh no, not again. But I'm over it now, and I'm good. I'm glad to be back. I did kind of refocus myself after that period of extended effort. I decided to take the fishing pole and knock the dust off of it in a major way. Went down and fished the Cowlitz River, which is one of our major rivers here that goes into the Columbia River Basin. My brother and I, we knocked out 3 steelhead, 10 to 13 pounds.
Yeah, and those were nice. But Dave, your Instagram, what is your... If people want to see the pictures of those, the steelhead that Dave and his brother caught were beautiful fish. Beautiful fish.
Yeah, the Instagram, it's just at David Sandana on Instagram.
Yeah, and then I'll actually have Dave send me those photos, and I'll actually put them up on our podcast Instagram. So that is at the Ridgeline Hunting Podcast. So I'll be posting those maybe later on tonight or tomorrow because I plan on posting this episode tonight, and it'll come on Monday. So, and actually Monday is also our opener for bear season. So, and that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could be there. We have a schedule this week where
called work.
Yeah, right. No, I'll be there in spirit for sure. But next weekend, you and I are heading out Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I'm super excited. It's just going to be myself and my son for the month of August. My wife is headed to Florida. My sister-in-law is dealing with cancer, and she's heading to Florida to help her out as much as we can. So, but yeah, it'll just be my oldest son and I kicking it in August, and we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So Devin's going to be kicking along with us. So he'll be shooting the 6.5.
Well, do we have to go there?
I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, so we're planning on heading out to the Mount Adams Wilderness area, and haven't been there in probably 5 or 6 years now. But it's all national forest.
I almost want to say it's been closer to 10.
No, no. Well,
2004. I think it was 2014.
Yeah, time does fly, but we have hunted any areas around that area, but just not the same spot we're heading to. Historically, we've seen bears there. If nothing else, we'll have a mess of huckleberries to pick.
Yeah, be good. We'll be eating good.
Mm-hmm. So this river, or this unit, this area is in the unit, the Lewis River unit, and that river used to be the number 2 elk harvest unit in the state. I shot a bull there. He's right there.
Which we will be telling that story in due time. I will have a podcast that Dave and I are going to talk about our first bull kills. And to be honest, between the both of us, our only bull kills. But hey,
I've had a lot of bull shots.
There's more to come. There's more to come.
The struggle stick. That's like a coined phrase, but it's actually the reality of archery hunting is that even if you had an opportunity, not everything goes as planned. Even with practice, I mean, it's still, you never know. I've missed animals with. I've testified to them on this podcast about hitting a stick that you don't see 30, 40 yards away in the timber. So that's happened at least one time. I probably have a traumatic memory loss incident somewhere about, you've been there when I've missed, elk that we
yeah, man, but it happens, and then like we reevaluate the situation, and then next time hopefully that doesn't happen. I mean, every opportunity in the woods, and especially with any shot, is a learning experience. Sometimes you hit the Hail Mary and it counts, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, I had Dave, I really don't want to go through this again.
We're not. So
I had therapy sessions for years over this exact same stuff, and I don't want to redig it. I don't want to dig it back up. I buried that hatchet.
So Dave, what have you been doing in the meantime? So you went to the Cowlitz River. You and Daniel spanked some whoppers, which everybody will see on Instagram. If you want to see, those, you'll be able to check those out.
There's a pretty cool video on there too. It's in the Reels section of our day fishing.
So that would be on Dave's Instagram.
Correct. So I'll tell the story now. So this is amazing.
Go for it. Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. Actually, it's funny, and it's like, damn, man, you got some luck. But go ahead. Yeah.
So my brother and I, we went down to the river. We got there at about 5 a.m. So I pull up to the launch, and I'm like, this is a good parking spot, but my truck is too close to the launch. There's these people are turning the corner. They have boat trailers and stuff, and I don't want to say I have a nice truck, but I have a nice enough truck that I don't want to have someone hit it with their trailer. So I said, I'm going to pull in front of this truck in front of me, park in this longer grass section where no one's at, and then there's zero risk of getting a trailer hit me at all. So I jump around that truck, pull over, I stop, go out to the tailgate, and start getting my waders on and stuff, and I'm wearing these like flip flops. I guess they're slides. Get the slides off, and I start putting my wader on because we're just going to bank fish. Start putting my wader on, and I look down, and there's like some wadded up money. And I'm looking as I analyzed it, because it was not quite bright enough yet. I'm like, that's $100 right there. So I told Dana, I was like, hey, check out this money. There's $100 right here on the ground. He's like, oh yeah, right. And he looks over. He's like, huh. I was like, well, don't touch it. So I get my rubber gloves on. so and here's the reason why. Okay, I had a friend that was on hard times, and it's a long story I won't get into here. But if you ever want a good laugh, go on YouTube and look up Poo Dollar or Poop Dollar, right? So this happened to my buddy before it was on YouTube, and he had told me that he was on hard times, and somehow miraculously the money he needed showed up exactly when he needed it. But when he went to unravel it quickly, there was poop in the middle. So it's all over his hands. And he said, he said there was only two people it could have been. And one was a store clerk, and the other one was the guy behind him. And he's like, I just can't imagine the guy walking around with a pooped up dollar in his pocket, So I thought about that story. And, this has been 12, 13 years since that happened. So I got my rubber gloves on, and I grabbed that money, and it's not $100, Dave. It's $300. I was like, dang, someone lost this money. It had to have been yesterday because it's too early. No one's parked here. So I posted in the local group, found some money on the river. If anybody can tell me how much and what launch they lost it at, I'll give them the money back. And it's been a couple weeks now, and no one's replied to it. No one's even come back looking for it or anything. But if they do, they're welcome to have it. But now that I've told the world it's $300,
that is now voided.
Right? So we're down there fishing for probably an hour and a half, when this guide boat pulls up. And I noticed that he's getting ready to let his people that hired him for the day off the boat, and that they had limited out on steelhead. So as they limit out on steelhead, I grabbed the guy's number off the side of the boat, gave him a phone call from the bank, said, hey, do you want to go out for the rest of the day? Because it's only like 8 o'clock in the morning. And he said, well, let me gut these fish. I'll call you back, and we'll see what we can do. As he's coming back across the bank, I start walking towards where I see he's going to land. And I asked the guy, how much longer. He wants to stay out, if any at all. And then we're chit-chatting, and I ask him, well, okay, how much? And he goes, how's $300 sound? I was like, just so happens I got $300, you know? I gave him the money. We went out and had a kick-ass time and made a nice video reel on it. And yeah, it was good, man. But I used to, so it was nice getting back onto a guide boat, because years ago, before I was married and everything, I used to deckhand for a guide down there on the Cowlitz River, and had my own sled for years and ran all up and down there, and, you know, Wainuchi, Satsa, Columbia, you know, all those rivers now. So now I have a high drift boat, but I haven't taken it out yet because I bought it pretty cheap and I've been occupied. But now I've got that fire back in my belly. I'm ready to get going.
Well, that and my wife's been bothering you. Take her out. My wife loves salmon fishing. I don't know. She's funny like that, which is great because on her birthday it's like the end of August all the time, so we're always in the river salmon fishing. That's like what she likes to do for her birthday. So, but yeah, even last night, well, she was hammered off some moonshine. All she could say is, Dave, you gotta take me out salmon fishing. You gotta take me, just me and you.
Well, it wasn't quite like that. So, you know, we were talking about our family's vacations and stuff, and, you know, episode 1, I think it was, we had Luke on here, or episode 2. Well, Luke moved to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tennessee's famous for whiskey moonshine, right? So my family just went down there to visit with Luke's family, and they brought back these things of moonshine. And they were over last night, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a mess, but it was just like, she's like, man, those were nice fish, because I had smoked them up.
Yeah. So what I mean by hammered, my wife gets drunk off half a beer. So she had a little bit of moonshine. She was feeling good. She wasn't hammered, but hammered for Karen, my wife. So it was just funny. She was having a good time last night, and we were all having fun.
Yeah. So she's leaving to Florida, and then we're starting our regular hunting season.
Yeah.
So we're expecting on the Puyallup record king salmon run. Like this year, and everywhere's getting record runs. They got record sockeye runs. My buddy, I mean, pretty much everybody who put their boat in the water limited out by 10 a.m. for sockeye on the Columbia system.
Really?
It was bonkers. And they had, I don't know the counts. You know, I remember reading them, but it was a tremendous amount of fish that came back. And it was like 2 times the numbers they thought were coming back. And now they're saying they're supposed to be record king runs. And they shut down our marine area. They shut down super early. So they said they've caught so many kings early that they want to shut it down and open it back up on August 3rd, because then people can have a later season before the rivers open up. Otherwise,
yeah, because the rivers don't really open up till like the 15th or something, right?
Yeah, 15th for Puyallup. There's other rivers open, but
right now
every river's different.
Yeah.
And they base that on what they want to get through and all these other things, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start seeing hatchery numbers early on in August. You know, if we look up Voight's Creek, we're going to see hatchery numbers probably by the 5th. You know, last year, I mean, we were waiting on the 15th. We were like the 14th. We were down there looking at the water, and there was fish just rolling everywhere. And I was like, oh, shit. I said, well, go. I went home and tied up 1,000 liters.
Well, we had pinks running last year, too.
Well, yeah, there was pinks, but they ran.
Everybody tosses the pinks, but just to be honest, if you smoke those things and have a good brine on them,
mm-hmm. That's what I do. I like pink ears because I could smoke them, and they're fine fish.
Yeah,
I like the little oily content fish because you could smoke them a little hotter, and you don't have to pay attention to the temperature as much because it's not going to burn or dry out fast. So, yeah, man. But I'm excited about this year because kings on the Puyallup, they're typically pretty large. I mean,
I've only had one king on, and it snapped my pole in half.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have you'll catch your typical football size king. You know, you'll be like, oh, there's a little guy. It's like 10 pounds, 12 pounds, somewhere around there. Then they jump up quite a bit. If they're not small, you
got a whopper.
Yeah, you're gonna be pushing 25.
Dude,
plus.
I went probably 200 yards downriver fighting this thing, and finally the pole went. It sucked. I was fighting him for a long time, and just trying to get him on the bank and everything, and
Yeah, plus that river, all rivers have challenges, but the Puyallup, it has slippery banks, limited access. It switches back and forth.
It's murky. You can't see nothing. It's like milk.
Yeah, it has a silt. There's silt that's in there. So, but the river switches back and forth a lot. It's not like a consistent depth, and it gets deep and it gets shallow, and it gets fast, and then it kind of slows down. But it gets real deep in some spots. And there's trees and stuff. I guess every river has the same thing. So you just really want to be careful not to lose your life for a fish. So that's kind of
Yeah.
basically what stops you from, doing the river wild, floating down to the next hole on your fly rod, and river runs through it.
Yeah.
So it's passed through my mind when I had a big fish on. Like I could just jump in here like Brad Pitt and float downstream and then get out in the next hole. But
No, not in the Puyallup.
Yeah,
you're gonna get snagged by something and pulled under, and you're done.
Yeah. So, just be prepared. Have a net. Be ready. And I think, a lot of guys are superstitious about fishing. I always think like if I bring a net, oh man, I'm jinxing myself because I've caught a lot more fish without a net. But when I do catch them and I have a net, it's always like I guess it's
blessing.
Like and kind of a shit show at the same time because somebody else is going to want to net your fish, and I fish alone a lot. So,
yeah,
some guys like, oh, I'll net it for you. And you're like, oh shit. And that silt issue becomes an issue because you might be able to see the fish when they're up in 6 inches from the top. So they're stabbing at fish and they can't see your line in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And they lose and foul a lot of fish right at the bank, which is never good. So a lot of times we try to ride them up onto the rocks or, fish in the spot where you can.
Yeah, always try to bank them up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, that's the way that I do it. I tend to not trust a net too because they can be flopping around in the net, and then say you catch a native, and they get busted up by the net, and then now you might have this messed up king that you have to release, and it might not survive. So kind of getting it banked up, you have a little bit of.
They have nets that are knotless and different things.
Yeah. There's good nets too, but also if someone's trying to net your crap and they got a crappy ass net, like no man, I got it.
And native fish are tough too. So the way I look at it is if they can't handle a little fishing net, then they can't handle the river because they're going. These native fish that we catch, they half of them have some sort of wound on them.
Seal
already.
bite.
Yeah, I mean the seal can bite a hole in their belly and they're still going to go upstream.
So our natives though, we do have to release. We can't keep them. And all of our fishing regs, they determine if they tell you what's legal and what's not. And our native kings, we have to release.
So statewide, I don't want to get too lost in the weeds because the rules are endless. But when you have statewide rules and then you have river specific rules.
Yes, yeah.
Just like every lake has its own quota for fish you can retain.
Mm-hmm.
Every river has its own quota as well. But there's a general statewide rule, and it might say statewide rules, and then you're like, okay, so it falls under statewide rules.
Yeah.
But if there's like a native ruling or a chum salmon ruling or whatever the ruling may be, sometimes they switch it in the middle of the year where they put out a bulletin like, okay, like they bumped up the steelhead retention to 3. And I was like, oh shit, it's been 2 for a while. Now it's 3. And 3 steelhead is, I'm thinking they're thinking you're going to catch some fish and there's plenty for you to retain a third.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that. But there was a time when we were able to keep 6 a day.
Wow.
And it was like an amazing time. You could cast, a lot of guys, probably people going to listen to this are going to remember, but you could cast and count to about 7 and set the hook and there was a fish on it. You didn't even have to be good. You could just...
Yeah, I didn't really start river fishing until about 2001 or 2002, so it was after I graduated high school. I was mainly just a lake fisherman, catfish, bass fishing, and trout. But yeah, it's... The rules change. I mean, they change like every few years, and like you said, you can have bulletins in the middle of a season, and all of a sudden, boom, it changes. It can change to 1, but it's nice that it goes to
just like our emergency bulletin where they shut down our marine area this year because they caught fish early.
Yeah.
Now they're opening it back up on the 3rd, so people can have an opportunity at fishing before the season opens on the Puyallup River.
Yeah, on the rivers, yeah.
Because this marine area 11 filters is like basically the funnel into the Puyallup River. That's the only outlet to that spot. There might be some creeks or something, but you can't fish the creeks off there. It goes Puyallup River is the fishable body of water, goes up, diverts into the carbon,
Yeah.
and then you can fish from there on up later on in like October, later September. So we'll have to just look at the rules, but that second river opens up later.
Yeah, because usually it's at the beginning of the month. So if it's on the 15th, it's probably gonna be like September 1st or even like August, late August.
I honestly don't even look at the carbon until the Puyallup stops catching.
Because they're moved all the way upriver. It's like, all right, time to go upriver.
Yeah, when I'm done, when I can't catch them low, I'm going to go high. Then I'll start looking at the rules and be like, okay, I need to go up here. A lot of guys I know fish high early because the fish run quick. It's only not very many miles for a fish, and that water's not super fast, and it's not steep. It's all valley. So they'll move quick.
Yeah.
If the water's decent levels, they'll move right through there. We've seen them in and out in a day. They're up there. So one day there'll be nothing, and then the next day they're all up high.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, the day before opening season, they were already up down at the River Road. We were looking at them in the water just rolling.
Yeah, you ended up getting one last year, farting around with Karen and I. Karen and I have been there for like 2 hours. So my wife and I are fishing for like 2 hours. Dave rolls up and he's like, check this out. I'm going to catch one in 3 casts. Second cast, he freaking catches one. And we're like, what the heck?
Well, I don't know if it was like that, but
it was. I remember clearly.
Well, it probably was. That sounds like something I would do.
It was pretty funny.
But I've been fishing since the 90s, and I had some people, back before the
fishing the river since the 90s.
Yeah, fishing the rivers since the 90s, and I forgot more than I know now. So, yeah, man, I used to just eat, drink, and sleep fishing, and I was just a fanatic. I mean, we would go.
Oh, I know this. You got in trouble for this.
I did?
Yeah.
Tell the story. I don't remember when I got in trouble.
You remember cutting too much school?
Oh, yeah. Well, I got myself in personal trouble. Not with the law or nothing, but
No.
I skipped
schooling.
I skipped
go fishing.
I skipped 96 days of school in 9th grade to go fishing. As soon as my buddy got his license, we were gone, and we were fishing all the time. So that I've overcome that obstacle. I realized the error of my ways, and I had my serenity prayer every day. I live by a river and a lake, and I have to go to work. But yeah, I was addicted to fishing, and still, I'm an addict. But yeah, man, I love it. There's nothing. You put a pole in my hand. If there's water around, I'll try to figure it out. And usually I can get something.
Yeah, you got a pompano, and I didn't.
Oh yeah, the pompano story.
Pretty PO'd about that.
Dude, I was hammering the fish down there off that pier too. It was amazing.
Well, I didn't fish the pier. I didn't, and I was like, next time we come out here, I'm probably just gonna fish the pier the whole time. So I think I could probably slay some red drum like easily. Now we're talking down at like 30 of them.
Yeah, we're talking about fishing down in we went to Navarre, Florida. We talked about on an episode where I caught a pompano down there.
Beautiful fish. Oh my gosh, they're so cool.
It was a good experience. The weather wasn't so good following that day, and we ended up with some double red flag like tides, waves and stuff. So I was fishing on the pier and started whacking the heck out of the fish on a double red flag, and people were like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I'm just persistent. I guess persistence pays. I guess I was so determined that I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to inundate myself in this fishing, and I'm not a saltwater fisherman.
No, but tropical. Man, it's fun,
dude.
It's so fun.
I started buying shit for saltwater fishing.
Oh, dude,
I don't
tell me, Luke's got an extra pole.
Oh, because you bought it down there.
I bought another pole, and then he's got pompano rigs up to yin yang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we here soon. We got to do a guys trip, and we're probably just gonna go out there and just chill on the beach, drink in hand and pole in the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's gonna have to happen.
Well, let's do it around the Pompano Derby. They have a Pompano Derby down there.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
I got on this, so I got inundated in fishing while I was there. I was like, you know what, I'm going to learn everything I can learn. So I got my Bluetooth in, my earpieces. You know, I'm listening to this uh, podcast from Navarre. This guy, it's called Finding Dory Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where they come up with the name, but they're talking just about saltwater fishing off the pier and beaches in
There you
Navarre.
go.
So I was like, bingo, hit that. And I was like, all right. I listened to what they're talking about. I was like, I don't know, man. And I started just keying in on fish. Just got into a zone. And I don't know. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I didn't even eat one of those fish, but people around me were like, oh, shit, you got another one? Oh, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it was fun. Learned some cool things, too. These guys were fishing for sharks off the end. I mean, there was a whole bunch of stuff that I never seen before and were really interesting to me. So I've stored that in my memory bank, and I thought maybe I'll try that up here.
So when I was there, it was tarpon. So from July 1st to the 28th, or might be the July 3rd, something like that. It's like somewhere in July. It's like tarpon season, and yeah, there are people just strictly fishing for tarpon, and got to witness a 17, 18-year-old catch a 5-foot tarpon. It was awesome. It was a really cool fish, and you know he was asking people to videotape. So Karen and I were videotaping. We sent him the video, and yeah, he goes out there every day and fishes for tarpon. And he finally landed one while we were there, which was really cool.
Yeah, man.
I was super excited.
I would be if I lived down there, I would have every single lure, every single pole. You see the guys on the pier.
It's a $500 cart. I looked at one of those.
Yeah. With a Yeti cooler in it.
At the fish spot.
The half hitch
tackle shop.
Yep.
It's an aluminum cart.
It looks like a Mars rover almost, like the rover would be sent to outer space. It's
because it can go on sand.
Got huge wheels on it.
Yeah.
It holds like a 48 quart Yeti cooler in it, and it has like 15 fish rod holders on the sides, and every one of those rod holders has a $700 or $800 pole in it.
Yeah.
$20 jig. So you're walking down the pier, you got like $5,000 in there. Crazy.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
No, there's no exaggeration. It seems like the people that are on the pier are like professional fishermen and fisherwomen. I mean, and it's littered with these things. And I was like, man, that is a cool rig before I went to the half hitch. And I'm like, man, I'm going to pick one of those up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I looked at the price and I was like, this ain't staying here.
I'm going to encourage Luke to pick one of those up.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, Luke, you know what you need? One of these little wagons with the big wheels.
Maybe we can do it on the guys trip.
Yeah, we'll convince you.
Well, I'll kick in. I got $5 on it.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So,
yeah, but I think that would be fun. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll look into that, and it's very realistic and easy, because Luke, he owns the place. So we just go down there and fish. And I don't know what time of year we would do it, though. That's the thing.
Well, I think we need to do some homework.
Yeah, Pompano Derby, man. I guess that's the time of year we'll be there.
I don't see why not. It's not like
win some money.
That'd be sweet. That'd be cool.
All right, man. Well, it's good to get back in here, get caught up, and now we'll just keep things rolling.
Talk fishing. Yeah, it's been good. And the season starts August 15th?
Yeah, we have.
Well, I'm sorry, the season's going now, but our local river, which is we can walk to, far walk from here, but we could walk to.
It's like a 3-minute drive.
Yeah, opens up on August 15th.
August 15th. We'll be pre-tying our leaders, getting everything ready to go. So opening morning, we're going to be down there, crack of dawn. Yep.
Well, all right, everybody. With that note, we're going to end it. So thank you for listening. We'd like to thank Phelps Game Calls for sponsoring this podcast. Hopefully this relationship will keep on going. I have been talking to Dirk Durham. We tried to get him on before the elk season, which will not happen this year. That kind of stinks. I wanted to talk to him about some things, leading up to elk season, but we will have him on, shortly after the elk season. Also, some really big news. If you are local here in Washington State, Dave and I will be doing some podcasting at the Sportsman Show in Puyallup. Pretty exciting news. So be looking for us there in January. I believe it's at the end of January.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's gonna be pretty exciting. I think that's gonna be really cool. So still trying to figure out what we're gonna talk about, and
what we should just do is we should have some guests from the show that are exhibitors come in, and we could just talk about their business.
I was thinking about that, and also like any cool gadgets we see. Like,
walk around, do a live. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do some live video, and yeah, it'll be fun, entertaining. First time for us, but we'll see how it goes. Everybody give us some feedback. Let us know. Should we do it again? Yes, no, maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah. And comment actually on this podcast, and maybe we can do some topics that some of the listeners want to hear about at the Washington Sportsman Show.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there all the days. It's like 5 days.
I'm gonna have to figure that out. We can be there each day. Obviously, you and I work, so either we're gonna have to take some time off, or we're gonna have to figure out like a decent time to show up.
We could do like a segment each evening, where we'll compile it, but we'll just do a segment from each section of the show. There's the camping life, there's fishing side, there's hunting side, there's guide side, so all those things, self-guided. We could just talk. There's hunts in BC and
Africa.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of stuff, tons of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Not only that, there's gear people there.
And we'll have some swag by then, so we'll have some legit swag for you.
Yeah, we're actually gonna have some T-shirts and some hats. So
stickers.
Yeah, so if you want to come by, our little area, it'd be awesome. We can talk whatever you want, hunting and fishing and all that other stuff, while we're not even doing the podcast, because we might just be chilling. So
and it's after hunting season, so we'll be able to talk about what we did this year.
Yeah, definitely. So
pressure's on now.
Yeah, there's that to look forward to. So hopefully, we'll see, a lot of you at the Puyallup Sportsman Show, or at, what is that, Washington State Sportsman Show?
I'm not sure what they call it now, but we'll be down there. Anyway, have a good night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you.